Hey everyone, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com. Today I'm taking a look at a new edition of the NASB 2020 from Lockman. This one is just called the Reference Bible, and they sent me two different versions of it. The first is the Leathertex, and then the second is the Prime Edition. And they do use the same text block. Here is a quick look at both. Quick look at the specs. We have a 9.5 point size font, line matched, 2-column text, references in the bottom. This does include the minimum set of notes, so it's the reduced set. Paragraph formatting, black letter, and then in the back we have Topical Index, book introductions, color maps, Bible reading plan, miracles of Jesus, and parables of Jesus. And both are made in Korea. So let's take a look. We'll start with this one. This one is brown Leathertex, and it has a texture that feels like cowhide. It looks like cowhide and feels like cowhide. I don't think I would have known that was not leather if I didn't already know it wasn't leather. Vinyl liner, and this one is stiff. It doesn't want to open up too well. Both are Smythe sewn. Both are made in Korea. In the front we have presentation page, and then marriages, wives and husbands family tree, births and deaths, and then occasions to remember. Both have two ribbons, brown for the Old Testament and black for the New Testament. And then the Leathertex includes gold gilding, and this one has a rounded spine, which I prefer. I like a rounded spine. And then on the front, no printing at all. This one does not include perimeter stitching. It's glued, folded over and glued. And then Holy Bible, it's got the text and rib indications stamped into the spine. Let's look at the size real quick. About 5 3/4 by 8 3/4 by a little over 1 1/4, and it weighs 1 pound and 15 ounces. Now onto the goat skin. This one is my favorite of the two. They have the same text block. The goat skin leather is thick and a little bit stiff, which I prefer. It stays open really well. It's easy to hold open with one hand. Has a little bit of a yap, not a large yap. I don't like a large yap. It does have probably what you'd consider a semi-yap. Has a grainy texture, perimeter stitching, nothing printed on the front, 5 raised ribs, spine hubs, and then the gold stamping. Same ribbons. These are the 3/8 inch double-sided satin, and art gilt, red under gold, and the red is a pretty prominent red. It's not a faded red. It does look good. It's good and tight. Leather lining with a gold gilt line all the way around the inside perimeter. And there's the edge line tab, and this one is tabbed in with vinyl coated paper, and that's on purpose. You don't want to tear that. And we'll see just a second how the two compare, how they open. But everything else is the same. So let's take a look at how they open. The Leathertex is stiff, does not want to stay open really well. Around the end of, about the middle or end of Genesis, it will stay open. Doesn't try to fight you too bad. But the goat skin stays open quite a bit better. I can use this on page 1. No trouble at all. So I can open it up to the first page of Genesis and teach from it and not have to fight against it. So let's take a look at what we have here. 9.5 point font. Actually looks more like a 10 to me. That is a large font. And then we have lots of space between the lines, ragged right edge, large verse numbers, so they're easy to find quickly, which is especially helpful considering this is a paragraph setting. References in the footer, and it does have 95,000. It does have the same references as the other editions. The reduced set of footnotes are under the column they go to. So some will be on this side, some will be on that side. Paper is 31 GSM, and it has a smooth texture to it, but it's still easy enough to grab and turn. Had no issues turning the pages. They separate really easy. Printed with line matching. It's a good dark font. I like how dark this font is. It's a good readable font. About 7 to 8 words per line. Poetry is not always broken in good places, so you do have a lot of poetic lines with a single word, and it's very common throughout. So you see quite a bit with a single word. So that's not the prettiest poetry. It's not terrible, but it's not the prettiest poetry. Easy to hold open. I like this. Black letter edition. So there we are in the New Testament. And then Old Testament quotes are in all caps. And I like that because it's easy to spot them quickly. You know at a glance. That's an Old Testament quote. Section headings are in bold and italics. Supplied words are in italics. And there's some Old Testament quotes. They stand out really well. Easy to see. That's a lot of references. And they're easy to find because they have large, bold chapter and verse numbers. They're easy to see. Same with the footnotes. They're easy to see. Lots of them. This is a good hand-sized Bible to carry. We'll measure this one real quick. This one is slightly larger because of that yap, but it's about the same size. It just appears a little bit larger because of the yap. So 5.5, a little bit over. And this one's going to be a little bit more difficult to measure because of that cover. So 8.75 to 9, in that range. Slightly thicker. About 1.5 inches. Just slightly thicker. And then 2 pounds, almost 2 ounces. It stays open really well. I like reading from this. I like preaching from this. Enough inner margin space to bring the text out from the gutter. In the back we have a topical index. It's a really good index for study. It does not have a concordance, so that index is very helpful. Book introductions, just a paragraph for each book in biblical order. A Bible reading plan. The reading plan is a little bit unique. All right, it gives you the date, then it gives you an Old Testament reading and a New Testament reading, and then it gives you the chapters for each. Then mixed in, you'll see some Psalms. So we go from Exodus to Psalms, a few chapters, and then to Leviticus. We have Matthew, and then a couple of chapters in Psalms, and then to Mark. So Psalms is just mixed in here and there. Me personally, I prefer to read the Bible in biblical order, unless I'm reading chronologically. I usually don't read from two different places in Scripture at the same time. That's me. And then in the back we have parables of Jesus, miracles of Jesus, and then our maps. It does not include an index, but it does have a lot of annotations on the map, so they're easy to read, easy to see. They have a lot of information, as you can tell. So that's the content. That is a good Bible. I prefer this size Bible. It's more similar to the Concord. About the same footprint as the Concord, a little bit thicker than a Concord. That's ideal for me. That's my personal favorite size. I've been reading this one as my daily reader for the past week or so, and I've enjoyed reading it. I like this one a lot. Between the two, I do prefer the goatskin. It just feels more elegant. It stays open easier, but I do like the Leathertex. It'd be a good idea to have both, actually, if you wanted to have one that you didn't care what happened to it, so that you don't have to worry quite so much, and then have a better quality one to take with you. That would be great. So I like this a lot. The goatskin has a squared spine, which I actually prefer the rounded spine myself, but that does look good though. So let's compare to a few other Bibles. I'm going to compare to other prime editions from Lockman. First is the large print compact, also in brown. Now this one is a single column non-reference edition. Excellent for carry, excellent for reading. I actually prefer reading from the reference edition simply because it has a larger font for me and a little bit more breathing room in the text. Although single column Psalms is really hard to beat. It's hard to beat single column for Psalms. Here's a look at how they compare. So I can get some pros there. The print in the reference edition is larger and has a little bit more space. The single column is a little tighter. I prefer a little bit more space, but I do like the size of the single column. So here's the footprint between the two. About the same thickness, but noticeably different in the footprint. And then last is the large print ultra thin reference Bible. Now this one is a little different. Same references, has more footnotes, slightly thinner, but not much. Larger footprint. It's noticeably wider. Yeah, it's noticeably wider and taller. The leather on this one is floppier. I prefer the stiffer, thicker leather on the reference edition. Paper in this one seems to be a little bit less opaque, but it could be because of the print. It could be I think it's the same paper actually, but it just could be the print. The large print poetry looks better to me, but here's how they compare. .10 font compared to a 9.5 font. It's not a massive difference, but it is enough different if you need a larger print. I do like the poetry in the large print thin line better. Ultra thin. I wouldn't call it ultra thin though. So that is a quick look at the new reference edition from Lockman in Leathertex and in the Prime edition. I like that Prime edition a lot. The Leathertex is good too. If you're looking for something inexpensive, that's a good one to carry around. But if you can afford it, I recommend the Prime. I like this Bible a lot. It's a good size. It's got a lot of good tools. It's good for reading. Good to carry around. That's a good all-around size for me. I like that. So I'll place some links in the notes so that you can make a purchase if you're interested. Also, I'll place links to BibleBuyingGuide.com, to the written review where I always go into more detail. And then also, Lockman did supply these in exchange for an honest review. And that is my honest review. I like it a lot. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.